Admiral Frank Wright stood on the bridge of the USS Valiant, humanity's most advanced interstellar vessel. At 62 years old, with gray hair and steady hands, he had spent his entire life waiting for this moment. The massive view screen in front of him showed what centuries of humanity had wondered about, proof they were not alone in the universe. The alien ship was beautiful. It gleamed like polished silver under the distant sun, its curved shape unlike anything human engineers had designed. Nearly 3 times the size of the Valiant, it moved with impossible grace for something so large. "Status report," Frank said, his voice calm despite his racing heart. "The alien vessel has matched our orbit, Admiral," replied Lieutenant Amy Roberts, from her console. "They're maintaining distance at 10,000 kilometers. No weapon signatures detected." Frank nodded. After 3 days of careful approach and basic communication exchanges, the moment of truth had arrived. "Open the channel." The view screen flickered, and for the first time, humans saw the face of an alien intelligence. The being had a generally humanoid shape, 2 arms, 2 legs, 1 head. But that's where the similarities ended. Its skin was nearly transparent, showing delicate blue and purple organs pulsing beneath. Large, multifaceted eyes blinked slowly as it regarded the humans. "Greetings, people of Earth," the alien said in surprisingly good English. "I am Kel Thar, diplomat of the Galactic Confederation, representing over 300 sentient species across this spiral arm of the galaxy." Frank straightened his uniform. "On behalf of Earth and all humanity, we welcome you. I am Admiral Frank Wright of the United Earth Space Force." Kelthar made a graceful gesture with long, thin fingers. "We have observed your world for some time, Admiral. Your species' rapid technological development is unusual. We believe the time has come to welcome you into our community of worlds." 2 hours later, Frank sat in the Valiant's conference room alongside Earth's hastily assembled first contact team. Dr. Olivia Martinez, Earth's leading xenobiologist, couldn't hide her excitement as she studied the 3 alien representatives seated across from them. "Your physiology is fascinating," Olivia said to Kelthar. "The transparency of your dermal layer. Is that common among Confederation species?" Kelthar tilted his head. "Not common, but not rare. We evolved on a world with limited solar radiation. Many species in the Confederation have similar adaptations to their homeworlds." Commander Jack Porter, head of security, leaned forward. "And how many of these species are we likely to encounter if we join your Confederation?" "As I mentioned, over 300 documented intelligent species exist within our alliance," Kelthar replied, "though many evolved in similar environments." Jack frowned. "Similar how?" The second alien, introduced as Neil Vax, spoke for the first time. "Habitable worlds tend to share certain characteristics. Most sentient life emerges on worlds we classify as Category 2 through 4. "What does that mean?" Frank asked. "We categorize planets by their habitability and danger levels," Kelthar explained. "Category 1 are paradise worlds, perfectly balanced, ecosystems with minimal environmental threats. Category 10 are death worlds, planets so hostile that life as we understand it shouldn't exist there." He gestured gracefully. "Our homeworld is a comfortable Category 3. Olivia's scientific curiosity piqued. "And where does Earth fall in this classification?" The 3 aliens exchanged glances. Frank had spent his career reading people, and even with these non-human faces, he recognized hesitation. "Earth is unique," Kelthar finally said. "Unique how?" pressed Frank. Neil Vax shifted uncomfortably. "We've never encountered sentient life evolving on a Category 8 world before." The room fell silent as the humans processed this information. "Category?" Olivia finally asked. "That's close to what you call death worlds." "Precisely," Kelthar said. "Your planet has extreme temperature variations, powerful gravity, significant radiation from your sun, frequent natural disasters, and aggressive microorganisms. Most Confederation species would perish within days of exposure to your natural environment." Jack looked skeptical. "Earth seems pretty comfortable to us." "That," said the third alien, Zrel Moore, speaking for the first time, is what makes your species so remarkable, and forgive me for saying somewhat concerning. Frank leaned back in his chair. You're afraid of us? It wasn't a question, but Kelthar answered anyway. Caution would be a better word, Admiral. Species that evolve on harsh worlds develop certain traits: resilience, aggressiveness, physical strength, rapid healing. Your bodies contain metals that would be toxic to most sentient life. You breathe oxygen, a corrosive gas. You drink water that would dissolve the cellular structures of many Confederation species. Dr. Martinez was making rapid notes on her tablet. This is incredible. From our perspective, we're quite fragile compared to many Earth species. Yet you hunted predators far larger and stronger than yourselves, Zrelmore noted. You survived ice ages with primitive technology. You intentionally consume substances that cause pain, capsaicin, alcohol, caffeine, for pleasure. Your entertainment often involves simulated danger and violence. Frank found himself smiling slightly. When you put it that way, I can see why you might be concerned. Yet here we are, Kelthar said, making a gesture that Frank interpreted as respect. Offering friendship. The Confederation values diversity. Your people have qualities and perspectives that could benefit us all. The meeting continued for hours. The aliens described the Confederation, a loose alliance of worlds sharing knowledge, resources, and mutual protection. They answered questions about technology, culture, and history, but Frank noticed they kept returning to Earth's harsh conditions and humanity's unusual evolution. As the aliens prepared to return to their ship, Kelthar paused. Admiral, we would like to invite a human delegation to visit our central hub. There, you will meet representatives from other worlds and begin formal discussions about Earth joining the Confederation. We would be honored, Frank replied. When? Our ship can transport your representatives immediately if you wish. The journey will take approximately 14 of your days. After the aliens departed, the human team remained in the conference room, processing everything they had learned. Did anyone else notice how they kept talking about Earth like it's some kind of hellscape? Jack asked. Olivia nodded enthusiastically. From their perspective, it is. We evolved on a world that would kill them. No wonder they seemed nervous. Frank stared out the viewport at the distant blue curve of Earth. All this time we wondered if aliens would be gods or monsters, he said quietly. Turns out they think we're the monsters. He turned to face his team. Get me the best people we have, scientists, diplomats, soldiers. In 2 weeks we're going to show the galaxy what humanity is really about. As the meeting ended, Frank couldn't help but smile. Humanity had always wondered about their place in the universe. Now they knew. They were the scary ones. The Deathworlders. The species that evolved on a planet so harsh that the rest of the galaxy considered it nearly uninhabitable, and somehow that made Frank proud. Captain Lisa Summers felt her stomach lurch as the alien ship dropped out of what the Zoraxians called fold space. After 2 weeks of travel, they had arrived at the Galactic Confederation's central hub. Lisa stood at the viewport alongside the 7 other members of Earth's first delegation, watching as the massive structure came into view. That's not a space station, whispered Dr. Paul Bennett, the team's physicist. That's a small moon. The hub was enormous, a spinning wheel nearly 50 miles in diameter, with spokes connecting to a central core. Hundreds of ships of various designs moved around it like bees around a hive. Multicolored lights traced patterns across its surface, making it look like a carnival ride against the backdrop of space. Prepare for docking, came Kelthar's voice over the ship's communication system. We will arrive at the diplomatic sector in approximately 20 minutes. Lisa turned to her team. They had been chosen carefully. Scientists, diplomats, military, personnel, the best Earth had to offer. Remember the briefing, she said. We represent all of humanity here. First impressions matter. William Garcia, her security chief, checked his sidearm for the 5th time. Admiral Wright had insisted they be armed, despite Kelthar's assurances that weapons wouldn't be necessary. I don't like how they look at us, William said quietly. Like we're dangerous animals. Maybe we are to them, replied Dr. Sophia Lee, the team's biologist. Remember what they said about Earth's classification. As the ship docked with a gentle bump, Lisa straightened her uniform. Let's show them that Deathworlders can be civilized. The docking tube extended, and Kelthar appeared at the entrance. Welcome to the central hub, he said with a slight bow. Representatives from many worlds await you in the Grand Assembly Hall. Lisa led her team through gleaming corridors, noticing how other aliens moved aside as they passed. Some stared openly, while others averted their many eyes or sensory organs. The hub was filled with species of all shapes and sizes, but none looked remotely human. Some floated in bubbling tanks, others slithered on multiple legs, and some moved, so strangely that Lisa couldn't determine how they got around at all. They're afraid of us, William whispered to Lisa as another group of aliens hurriedly moved across the corridor to avoid them. Before she could respond, they arrived at massive doors that slid open to reveal the Grand Assembly Hall. The room was circular with tiered seating rising from a central platform. Hundreds of different alien species filled the seats, creating a riot of colors, shapes, and sizes. A low hum of conversation stopped as the humans entered. A tall, insectoid being stepped onto the central platform. Its exoskeleton gleamed green and gold under the lights, and when it spoke, its mandibles clicked rhythmically. I am Grand Counselor Vrex, it said. Its voice translated through small devices the humans wore on their collars. On behalf of the Confederation, I welcome our visitors from Earth. Lisa stepped forward. Thank you, Grand Counselor. We are honored to be here. Vrex's antennae twitched. Before we proceed with diplomatic formalities, there is a matter we must address. Many representatives here have expressed concerns about welcoming a species from a Category 8 world. Murmurs spread through the assembly. Lisa frowned. What concerns exactly? Vrex gestured, and a holographic display activated above the central platform. An image of Earth appeared, rotating slowly. For context, Vrex explained, most sentient species in the Confederation evolved on worlds we classify between Categories 2 and 4. Environments with moderate gravity, stable climate patterns, limited temperature variation, and minimal natural disasters or dangerous organisms. The hologram changed to show various planetary scenes, gentle rolling hills under pink skies, shallow seas with small islands, forests with strange trees. These typical homeworlds shaped species that value cooperation, careful planning, and risk avoidance, Vrex continued. Now, let us examine Earth. The hologram shifted again. It showed towering mountains, churning oceans with massive waves, lightning storms, erupting volcanoes, dense jungles, and vast deserts. Earth experiences extreme temperature variations, from -40 to +50 degrees on your Celsius scale, a range that would kill most Confederation species. Your gravity is 1.3 times our galactic average, which would crush many of us. Your planet experiences constant tectonic movement, resulting in earthquakes and volcanic eruptions. Your oceans cover 70% of your surface with corrosive salt water. Your atmosphere contains oxygen at levels toxic to most species. As Vrex spoke, the hologram showed examples of each deadly feature. Lisa noticed many aliens recoiling or making gestures she interpreted as distress. Most concerning, Vrex continued, Earth hosts millions of predator species, parasites, and microscopic organisms that cause disease. And in this environment, this death world, humans not only survived, but became the dominant species. Now, the hologram showed humans in various activities, climbing mountains, diving in oceans, running marathons, and working in extreme environments. Our scientists have analyzed human physiology, Vrex said. You possess redundant organs, a reinforced skeletal structure, remarkable tissue regeneration, and immune systems that aggressively destroy foreign organisms. You can survive injuries that would be fatal to most species. You require sleep for only 1/3 of your day cycle. You can temporarily exceed your physical limits through something you call adrenaline. William leaned close to Lisa and whispered, They're making us sound like superheroes. Sophia whispered back. Or monsters. Vrex's mandibles clicked rapidly. I say this not to alarm the assembly, but to acknowledge facts. Humans come from conditions that would kill most of us within days. Their biology reflects these harsh origins, yet they stand before us seeking peaceful contact. This speaks to their potential as allies rather than threats. A ripple of communication passed through the assembly. Some seemed convinced, others clearly nervous. A floating, tentacled creature rose from its seat. How can we be certain they won't use their natural advantages against us? Deathworld species are aggressive by necessity. Lisa stepped forward. May I address the assembly? Vrex nodded, and Lisa took a deep breath. Yes, Earth is harsh by your standards, and yes, it shaped us to be strong and resilient, but it also taught us cooperation. No human survives alone. Our history is not just of conflict, but of building communities, of helping each other through disasters, of sacrificing for the common good. We're explorers seeking knowledge and connection, not conquerors. She gestured to her team. We're scientists, diplomats, protectors. We came across the stars not to find new territories to claim, but new friends to make. If our strength frightens, you know that we would use it to protect, not harm. The assembly fell silent, considering her words. Finally, Vrex spoke. Well said, Captain Summers. The Confederation values diversity of experience and perspective. Earth's addition would bring unique qualities to our alliance. The insectoid turned to address the assembly. I propose we proceed with orientation for our Earth visitors, followed by preliminary membership discussions. As the formal meeting concluded and the delegates broke into smaller groups, Lisa noticed the change immediately. Some aliens still kept their distance, but others approached with what seemed like curiosity rather than fear. They're starting to see us as people, not just Deathworlders, Sophia observed. Lisa nodded, watching as Paul engaged in animated conversation with a group of aliens about Earth's physics. That's progress, one step at a time. But William remained vigilant, his eyes scanning the crowd. Don't get too comfortable, Captain. Being seen as dangerous isn't always a bad thing in diplomatic circles. Sometimes it's useful. Lisa considered his words as they moved deeper into the heart of the hub. Earth was about to join a much larger community, and their reputation as Deathworld survivors would follow them. How they used that reputation would shape humanity's future among the stars. Dr. Alex Cooper had never been so fascinated in his entire life. As the cultural attaché for the human delegation, he had spent the last 3 weeks buried in the Confederation archives, learning everything he could about alien history and cultures. The archive was a massive chamber with thousands of data terminals, each offering windows into different civilizations. This is remarkable, Alex said to his alien guide, a small purple being named Trex, who floated in a personal gravity field. Most sentient species evolved on worlds with minimal environmental stress. Trex bobbed, and what Alex had learned was an affirmative gesture. Indeed, approximately 87% of all Confederation species developed on Category 2 to 4 planets, stable environments with predictable seasons, limited natural disasters, and moderate temperature ranges. Alex scrolled through more data on his terminal. And their evolutionary paths reflect this stability? Precisely. Without constant survival pressure, species could devote more energy to brain development and social structures. Most achieved space travel within similar timeframes, approximately 10,000 years after developing agriculture. Alex frowned. Humans went from our first powered flight to landing on our moon in just 66 years. Trex's color darkened, slightly, which Alex had learned indicated surprise or concern. Yes, your development rate is unsettling to many in the Confederation. It suggests an unusual drive that Deathworld species often exhibit, a constant need to overcome challenges, to push boundaries. Is that bad? Not bad. Different. Potentially valuable, but also potentially disruptive. Meanwhile, back on Earth, Commander Samantha Powell led a tour for 15 alien dignitaries through various Earth environments. Today, they were visiting Yellowstone National Park, and the aliens were thoroughly terrified. This entire area sits Atop a supervolcano? Asked Zilnax, a reptilian ambassador with iridescent scales. His translator device barely masked the panic in his voice. Samantha nodded casually. Yes, though it hasn't had a major eruption in 640,000 years. The hot springs and geysers are just minor releases of pressure. Perfectly safe. The aliens huddled closer together as Old Faithful erupted right on schedule, sending boiling water and steam shooting into the air. Despite wearing their environmental suits necessary for most aliens to survive Earth's atmosphere and gravity, they flinched collectively. You bring your young here for recreation? Asked another alien, a crystalline entity named Valzar. Sure do, Samantha replied. It's educational. My parents brought me here when I was 7. I loved it. She consulted her tablet. Tomorrow we'll visit the Florida Everglades to observe some of our local wildlife. The aliens exchanged glances through their helmet visors. One of them, a small fuzzy creature named Plick, raised a tentative limb. Are there predators there? Samantha smiled. Oh, plenty. Alligators, panthers, snakes, all kinds of interesting species. And humans visit this place. Voluntarily. Plick's voice quavered. It's actually a popular tourist destination, Samantha said cheerfully. Now let's head back to the visitor center for lunch. I think you'll enjoy trying some local cuisine. As the group moved away from the geyser basin, the skies darkened suddenly. A spring thunderstorm was rolling in from the mountains. Alert, announced Samantha, checking her tablet. Looks like we're in for some rain and possibly thunder. Nothing to worry about. The aliens froze in place as the first raindrops began to fall. Thunder rumbled in the distance. What is happening? Zilnax hissed, his scales flattening against his body in distress. Just a spring shower, Samantha explained. The atmospheric conditions create electrical discharges, the lightning, and the sound is thunder. It's very common. Lightning flashed nearby, followed immediately by a crack of thunder. Several aliens dropped to the ground, their environmental suits automatically engaging emergency protocols. Is this a natural disaster? Wailed Plick from somewhere inside his protective bubble. Samantha tried not to laugh. Not at all. This happens all the time. Wait until you see hurricane season. As she helped the terrified diplomats back to their transport vehicle, Samantha couldn't help but see Earth through their eyes. What humans considered normal weather was, to them, a catastrophic event. The ground beneath their feet, constantly shifting due to tectonic activity, was unstable and frightening. The very air was corrosive to many of them, and humans just lived with it, adapted to it, thrived in it. For the first time, Samantha felt a strange pride in humanity's resilience. They really were tougher than they gave themselves credit for. Back on the Confederation hub, Captain Lisa Summers was summoned to an emergency meeting with Grand Counselor Vrex and several high-ranking officials. We have a situation, Vrex said, without preamble as Lisa entered the chamber. The scientific outpost on the edge of explored space has gone silent. The planet, Dracona 66, is classified as Category 7. Not quite as extreme as Earth, but dangerous nonetheless. Lisa sat down, noting the concern in the aliens' postures. I'm sorry to hear that. How can we help? A holographic display activated, showing a rocky, storm-swept planet. Dracona 66 has high gravity, frequent electrical storms, and a corrosive atmosphere. The outpost was studying rare minerals formed under these conditions. Vrex's mandibles clicked rapidly. Standard Confederation rescue teams would require extensive protective measures, limiting their effectiveness. The journey would take 17 days and deployment would be slow. You want humans to go? Lisa said, understanding immediately. Yes. Your natural adaptations to high gravity and resistance to electrical interference would make you ideal for this mission. Your team could deploy much faster than our standard forces. Lisa considered the request. I'll need to consult with my superiors on Earth, but speaking personally, I believe we would be willing to help. Vrex's antennae quivered. This would be an opportunity for Earth to demonstrate its value to the Confederation, not just as a curiosity, but as a contributor. As Lisa left the meeting, she found William waiting outside. They want us to run a rescue mission, she told him. Because we're Deathworlders who can handle tough conditions. William nodded. I heard. It makes sense. They're fragile compared to us. He lowered his voice. But I think there's more to it. They're testing us, seeing if we'll use our abilities to help or to gain advantage. Either way, Lisa said, this is a chance to show that humans from the scary death world can be valuable allies. She activated her communication device to send a message back to Earth. Admiral Wright needed to hear about this development immediately. Humanity's reputation in the galaxy was about to be defined not just by their terrifying homeworld, but by what they chose to do with the strength it had given them. Meanwhile, in the archives, Alex had made a fascinating discovery. He rushed to find Trex, who was cataloging data nearby. I've been reading about previous contact scenarios, Alex said excitedly. There's never been a Category 8 world in the Confederation before, but there have been species from Category 6 and 7 worlds. Trex bobbed cautiously. Yes, though they are rare. And in every case, Alex continued, those species became valued members of rescue teams, exploration units, and defense forces. Their natural adaptations made them ideal for handling dangerous situations. Trex's color shifted to a pale lavender. That is correct. Their physical capabilities proved useful. Alex smiled. So humans aren't just scary Deathworlders to you. We're potential protectors. Trex hesitated, then bobbed again. The Confederation Council would never phrase it so directly, but yes, in a galaxy of relative peace and stability, those who can face danger are highly valuable. Alex sat back, pondering this new understanding. Earth wasn't being invited to join the Confederation despite being a death world. They were being invited because of it. Lieutenant Daniel Hayes checked his equipment one last time as the Confederation vessel Harmony approached Draconus 6. The planet looked menacing through the viewports. Dark storm clouds covered most of its surface, with occasional flashes of lightning visible even from orbit. Are you certain your protective gear is sufficient? Asked Captain Marevtok, the Harmony's commander. The tall, slender alien watched with concern as Daniel and his team of 7 other humans prepared for their descent to the planet's surface. Daniel glanced down at his standard Earth environmental suit. By human standards, it was heavy-duty gear. Heat-resistant, waterproof, with reinforced joints and a helmet with enhanced vision capabilities. But compared to the bulky life support chambers the Confederation rescue teams used, it looked like casual outerwear. This is actually more than we need, Daniel replied. According to your data, conditions down there are like a mild winter day in Minnesota. We've added extra insulation against the electrical storms, but otherwise this is standard gear. Marevtok's large eyes blinked rapidly. Your Minnesota must be a terrifying place. Daniel laughed. Only during hockey season. The joke didn't translate, but Daniel was used to that by now. After 3 weeks of preparation on Earth and a 17-day journey aboard the Harmony, he had grown accustomed to the aliens' constant amazement at what humans considered normal. His team gathered near the shuttle bay, 4 men and 4 women, all with specialized skills. Susan Kelly, their medic, was checking her supplies one last time. Eric Green, their engineer, was explaining something about the outpost's power systems to Ryan Phillips, their communications expert. Karen Davis, their geologist, was studying readings from the planet's surface with intense focus. The other 3, Nicole Adams, Alan Jackson, and Greg Wilson, were security specialists, chosen for their experience in harsh environments. All of them had served in Earth's most challenging regions: deserts, Arctic zones, high mountains, or deep-sea installations. Final briefing, Daniel called, and his team gathered around. The outpost has been silent for 6 standard days. There are 22 researchers inside, a mix of species, all in environmental suits. Our mission is to determine what happened and extract any survivors. He projected a hologram of the outpost, a squat building partially embedded in rock with several antenna arrays and a small landing pad. The structure is intact according to orbital scans, but there's no power signature. We'll land here. He pointed to a flat area about 200 meters from the main entrance, and approach on foot. The gravity is 1.3 times Earth normal, so Watch your movements until you adjust. Eric raised a hand. What about the atmosphere? Breathable in emergencies but acidic. Keep your helmet sealed unless absolutely necessary. The bigger concern is the electrical activity. The storms generate electromagnetic pulses that may disrupt communications and some equipment. Nicole checked her weapon, a standard-issue stun baton. The Confederation had reluctantly allowed them to bring defensive equipment but had insisted on non-lethal options only. Any indigenous life forms we should worry about? She asked. Daniel shook his head. Nothing sentient. Some hardy plant analogs and insect-like creatures, but nothing larger than your hand. They're not aggressive according to the records. Greg grinned. So just acid rain, high gravity, and lightning that can fry our systems. Sounds like a walk in the park. Compared to that training mission in the Australian outback, it probably is, Karen remarked. Mrevtok had been listening to their casual banter with increasing alarm. You find these conditions amusing? The alien asked. Daniel turned to the captain. Not amusing, just manageable. This is what we trained for. 2 hours later, their shuttle broke through the cloud cover of Draconis VI. Rain lashed against the viewports and lightning flashed nearby, but the human pilot, Ryan, guided them to a smooth landing on the rocky ground. Conditions outside are rough but within parameters, Ryan reported. Winds at 48 kilometers per hour, temperature at -10 Celsius, electrical activity high but not immediately dangerous. Daniel nodded. All right, team. Helmets sealed, communications check, and move out in standard formation. Let's find these scientists. The rear hatch opened and immediately the howling wind and driving rain greeted them. The humans moved with careful, measured steps at first, adjusting to the higher gravity. Within minutes, they had established a rhythm and were making good progress toward the silent outpost. Aboard the Harmony, Mrevtok and the alien crew watched through the humans' helmet cameras with astonishment. They're moving as if they're on a training exercise, one officer remarked. Our teams would be struggling just to stand in those conditions. Mrevtok nodded slowly. Now I understand why the Council was so eager to bring Earth into the Confederation. These humans are remarkable. On the surface, Daniel's team reached the outpost's main entrance. The door was sealed shut with no signs of external damage. Eric, what do you make of this? Daniel asked, gesturing to the control panel beside the door. The engineer examined it carefully. Power's completely dead. The backup systems should have kicked in, but there's nothing. Can you get us in? Eric pulled a small device from his pack. Give me 2 minutes. True to his word, less than 2 minutes later, the door slid open with a manual override. The team switched on their helmet lights and entered the darkened outpost. The interior was cold and silent, with emergency lights providing minimal illumination. Life signs? Daniel asked Susan, who was scanning with a Confederation medical device. Multiple readings, but they're weak, she replied. All concentrated in the central chamber according to the outpost layout. They moved carefully through the corridors, noting the abandoned workstations and personal items scattered about. There were no signs of violence or struggle, just a facility that had been suddenly abandoned. When they reached the central chamber, they found the missing scientists. All 22 aliens were huddled in what appeared to be a panic room, sealed. Inside their environmental suits, which were running on emergency power. They're alive, Susan confirmed, but many are in poor condition. Dehydration, exhaustion. One of the aliens, a small insect-like being with multiple compound eyes, stirred as Daniel approached. Its translator device crackled to life. Earth. Humans? The scientist asked weakly. Yes, Daniel confirmed. We're here to rescue you. What happened? Power failure. Then the emergency systems. Geological activity damaged the main reactor. Radiation leaked into the primary systems. We couldn't repair. Too dangerous outside. Had to wait. Daniel looked at Eric, who was already examining a technical readout on the wall. A simple power failure, Eric said, sounding almost disappointed. The reactor uses a coolant that became unstable during a small earthquake. Nothing dramatic, maybe a 3.5 on the Richter scale, but it was enough to crack a coolant line. The radiation isn't dangerous to us. but it would be lethal to most Confederation species. Karen was checking her geological scanner. These earthquakes happen daily here. It's just normal tectonic shifting. Daniel turned back to the alien scientist. We'll get you all to safety. Our ship is 200 meters away. The alien's eyes widened. You walked here? Through the storm? It wasn't so bad, Daniel said with a shrug. As his team began preparing the weakened scientists for evacuation, moving them carefully onto portable stretchers, Daniel realized something important. What had been a life-threatening crisis for the Confederation team had been solved by humans in less than an hour. Not because they were smarter or more skilled, but simply because their bodies could withstand conditions that were deadly to other species. When acid rain began to fall during their return journey, a mild irritant to human skin, but potentially deadly to the aliens, Officer Natalie Adams simply removed her outer jacket and held it above two of the alien scientists as they were carried to the shuttle, ignoring the mild discomfort on her arms. The gesture wasn't lost on the watching Confederation crew. These Deathworlders from Earth didn't just endure hardship, they protected others from it. 1 year after first contact, Earth's reputation had spread throughout the galaxy. The successful rescue mission on Draconis Assixix was just the beginning. Human teams had since helped with emergency responses on a dozen worlds, explored regions, too dangerous for other species, and even established outposts in previously inaccessible resource-rich areas. At Confederation headquarters, Grand Counselor Vrex called a special session. The massive assembly hall was filled with representatives from hundreds of worlds. Earth now had a permanent delegation, led by Dr. Olivia Martinez, who had been appointed as humanity's first ambassador to the stars. Vrex's mandibles clicked for attention, and the hall fell silent. Esteemed representatives, Vrex began. Today marks 1 standard year since we welcomed our friends from Earth into our community. In that time, they have proven themselves valuable allies beyond our expectations. Holographic displays activated around the chamber, showing images of humans working alongside various alien species across different worlds. When Earth first joined us, many expressed concern about integrating a species from such an extreme environment. Today, I believe those concerns have been answered. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the assembly. Olivia smiled from her seat in the Earth section. The change in attitude was remarkable. Where once aliens had kept a fearful distance from humans, now many sought them out as colleagues and even friends. However, Vrex continued, recent scientific studies have prompted us to reconsider our classification system. I have assembled our leading xenobiologists and planetary experts to present their findings. A small group of aliens moved to the central platform. Their leader, a gelatinous being named Zoltep, began the presentation. Our classification system for habitable worlds has served us well for centuries, Zoltep said, its body pulsing with bioluminescent patterns. But Earth has forced us to reconsider our parameters. A holographic model of Earth appeared, rotating slowly. Earth was previously classified as Category 8, a hostile environment near the limit of what we considered capable of producing intelligent life. But after extensive study and direct observation, we must reclassify it as Category 9, the most hostile environment known to produce sentient beings. Gasps and murmurs filled the hall. Olivia leaned forward, surprised by this announcement. Our original assessment underestimated several factors, Zoltep continued. Earth's biodiversity includes over 8 million species, many of them predators or dangerous to sentient life. Its microbiome alone contains more potentially harmful organisms than the combined total of all other Confederation worlds. The hologram showed microscopic images of Earth bacteria and viruses. Furthermore, Earth's geological activity is far more intense than initially measured, its weather patterns more extreme, its oceans more vast and violent. And yet humans not only survived these conditions, but adapted to thrive in them. Zoltep's body shifted to a deep blue color. But more concerning is what this means about humans themselves. The hologram changed to show human anatomy, highlighting various systems. To evolve on such a world requires traits that are unprecedented in our experience. Humans possess incredible physical endurance, able to continue physical activity long after most species would collapse from exhaustion. They can survive injuries that would be fatal to most of us, heal at rates we find astonishing, and adapt to new environments with remarkable speed. Admiral Frank Wright, sitting beside Olivia, whispered, "Are they complimenting us or warning everyone about us?" Olivia smiled. "Both, I think." Zoltep concluded its presentation, and Vrex returned to the central position. "Thank you for this information. In light of these findings, I now recognize Ambassador Martinez of Earth." Olivia stood and moved to the central platform. She had prepared for this moment, knowing it could define humanity's place in the galactic community for generations to come. "Thank you, Grand Counselor," she began. "Representatives of the Confederation, I understand your concerns. From your perspective, humans must seem like creatures forged in fire, built to survive against all odds." She looked around the chamber, making eye contact with as many different species as possible. "We understand your unease. Humans are built to survive. We heal from injuries that would be fatal to your species. We can endure temperature extremes, radiation, pressure changes, and toxins that would kill most life forms. We can go days without water, weeks without food." Olivia paused, letting her words sink in. Some representatives shifted uncomfortably in their seats. "But we are not conquerors. We are explorers and builders. Yes, Earth has shaped us into creatures that can survive almost anywhere, but it has also taught us the value of cooperation, adaptation, and perseverance." She gestured to the holographic displays still showing humans working alongside aliens on various worlds. In the past year, humans have served on 27 emergency response missions. We've helped establish outposts on worlds previously considered too dangerous to inhabit. We've shared our technologies for surviving hostile environments. Not to dominate, but to expand the horizons of all Confederation species. Olivia's voice grew passionate. "Earth may be the most terrifying planet you've encountered, but it created a species that understands something vital. Strength isn't just for survival, it's for protection. The same adaptations that let us weather Earth's dangers now allow us to go places you cannot, face risks you cannot take, and extend protection to those who need it." The chamber was silent, all attention focused on the human ambassador. "We don't ask you to stop being cautious. Caution is wise when facing the unknown. But we do ask you to see beyond our origins, to judge us by our actions rather than our biology." As Olivia returned to her seat, Kelthar, the diplomat who had first contacted Earth, rose to speak. "If I may, Grand Counselor," he said, his translucent skin showing the rapid pulse of his circulatory system. "I was among the first to meet humans on their homeworld. I have worked closely with them this past year. While their Death World heritage gives them capabilities that can seem frightening, they have consistently used these abilities to help, rather than harm." Kelthar gestured toward the Earth delegation. "I believe the humans have a saying, judge someone not by their words but by their deeds. By this measure, Earth has proven to be a valuable ally." Grand Counselor Vrex considered these words, then raised his upper limbs in a gesture of decision. "The Council acknowledges Earth's reclassification as a Category 9 world, the most hostile known homeworld of any Confederation species. But we also acknowledge the unique contributions humans have made to our community." Vrex turned to address the Earth delegation directly. "Your strength born of hardship has become our shared advantage. The Confederation formally recognizes Earth as a full member world, with all rights and responsibilities thereof." The vote was unanimous. As the session concluded, representatives from dozens of worlds approached the Earth delegation, many seeking to establish direct diplomatic relations or discuss joint ventures. Admiral Wright found himself speaking with a representative from a water world, whose people had always been limited in where they could travel due to their environmental needs. "Your engineers have designed life support systems that could help my people visit worlds we've never seen," the aquatic alien bubbled excitedly. "All because you evolved on a world where adaptation meant survival." Later that evening, at a reception, celebrating Earth's formal recognition, Olivia stood with Frank watching the mingling of species from across the galaxy. A year ago they were afraid to get near us, Frank observed, sipping a drink that had been carefully tested to ensure it was safe for human consumption. Olivia nodded. Fear can change to respect when given the chance. So we're officially from the scariest planet in known space, Frank said with a small smile. Not how I expected our first venture into the galactic community to go. But it worked out well, Olivia replied. They need us precisely because we're different, because we can do things they can't. Throughout the galaxy, the news spread. Earth, the terrifying death world at the edge of explored space, was now a full member of the Confederation. Its people, the resilient, adaptable humans, had emerged from their harsh cradle not as conquerors but as protectors. In diplomatic circles, a new human saying took on special meaning. The most dangerous creature is one that has nothing to lose. Humans, forged in Earth's crucible, had everything to lose. And that made them not just survivors, but guardians of life in all its forms. The terrifying Death Worlders from Earth had arrived on the galactic stage, and the universe would never be the same.